clash between the Central Queensland Capras and the luxury paints Ipswich Jets. Great to have you with us on Phoenix Radio, phoenix.com.au. Smith somehow right down the instant touchline, 12-4 the score. Well, the first attacking opportunity the Capras had.
Hello and welcome to another edition of After the 80. I'm Ben Wilmott, and back on the panel with me today is Anthony Bomber Breeze. Welcome back, Bomber.
Thank you. Good to be back. Some great action over the weekend. The Jets back in the winner's circle again, moving up the ladder.
Unfortunately, it wasn't to be for the Broncos, though. Also joining us today is the Ipswich Jets unofficial number cruncher, Michael Nunn. Michael, can you quickly explain what your role is with the QRL and the Ipswich Jets?
Oh, pretty much whatever Ben and Shane tell me to do.
Yep.
That's pretty much it.
Keep an idea on, keep a good track on what the players are up to each match?
Yeah. So I write my column in the QT and then just the stats and preview and things like that.
Yep. Well, I saw you gave Chris Ash a bit of a blast last week, so luckily on the panel this week we've got Chris Ash making his After the 80 debut. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, mate. Good to be here.
We've got both of the rangers from the Ipswich Jets camp on screen, so we've gotten a little bit of colour on the panel this week. Now let's kick off this week with the Intrust Super Cup match between the Ipswich Jets and the CQ Capras at North Ipswich Reserve on the weekend. And Chris, the Jets came away with a lovely 34-20 win on the weekend. Must have been happy with that one.
Yeah, mate, it was really good. It was good to have another win. I think that's 3 in a row for us now.
Yep.
And we're starting to click and play some of the footy that people really enjoyed last year.
Yep.
If you want to look at the highlights, some of them were some really good footy.
And obviously, it being the Aboriginal Appreciation Round, you had your trio of Aboriginal players really stepped up for the game as well, with Billy McConaughey, Wes Conlon and Michael Purcell all having a hand in the points for you.
Yeah, they all dragged some meat pies, and his kicking was awesome on the weekend.
Yep.
I think he was 100%, and yeah, the boys really stood up. I know it means a lot to those boys to play on that day, and Wes talked to us about it during the week, and so it was good to see him have a good one.
I think he kicked 5 conversions and added 2 penalty goals, so 7 from 7 for the weekend. That must have given him some confidence with the boot as well.
Yeah, for sure, and that confidence starting to come through all his game now.
Yeah,
a couple games back from his injury, so yeah.
Well, we've got a bit of vision from the game here as well, and there was some great tries. Michael, you said that the Jets haven't been running as much as they traditionally have in previous years, but they're still they've been managing to put quite a few good wins together in recent times.
Yeah, I just think just this game against the Capras, they were back to guys wanting the ball and they looked enthusiastic, and I think the Jets are at their best when they're running back inside, and then you like that line that Billy just ran, like streaming through the middle, and that's when guys have trouble handling them.
Yep.
And they were doing that on Saturday.
And how much does it help the Jets kind of style when they're instead of playing catch-up football, because in some games earlier in the season, unfortunately, we're getting behind earlier in the game and having to play a little bit, trying the hand a little bit too much, trying to catch up. So having a good start like you did against the CQ Capras, does that help you play that attacking style of football that you?
Yeah, it's always good to, when you're trying to chase points the way we play, it can get a bit erratic. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is organised chaos.
Yep.
So we do have some sort of control over the game, and when you're playing from well behind, it's hard to have that control and that patience that you need.
Yep.
But yeah, we've come out to some good starts the last couple of weeks, and mostly it's off the back of our defence. I think when our defence is good and our energy in defence is good, our attack's just taking care of itself because we're all turning up for each other in D, so then our attack's...
As Nunn said as well, it seems like everyone's putting their hands up at the moment, and quite a few of your BRL teammates as well putting their hands up at the top level. Good to see that.
It's good. There's 3 or 4 of us that have kept our spots up there now.
Yep.
For a consecutive week, so it's good to have some boys stepping up from the lower grades coming through.
So you've got Ben White, Beattie, yourself and Purcell all up there?
Yeah, Meek is killing it at hooker, and it's going to make it tough for Landon when he's right. It'll be a tough decision for the coaches, and Benny White on my edge is just, we've played together for 3 years now, so I'm very comfortable playing next to him.
Helps having those combinations that you're used to?
Yeah, 100%, especially in defence.
Excellent. Well, it was a great win at North Ipswich Reserve, and Conlon, as we see, slotting another one of his conversions with 100%, and that really did help put the scoreline out and give you a little bit of a bumper. Yeah,
it did. And just watch this try here. It's very slick. Leo on the out ball, tip, and then old Percy down the sideline.
He's just got so much pace, hasn't he?
Yeah, I beat him at training the other night on a 20-metre sprint, but don't tell him. I said that. Yeah, he's quick. He's very quick.
And a little bit of... broken play here, unfortunately, giving the Capras one of their few tries, but a great kick as well over to the sidelines. Fortunately, over the top of Purcell.
Yeah, Matty Minto can kick a footy.
Yep. And we do have the results from the rest of the round 17 with the winner Manly Sea Eagles having a narrow victory over the Redcliffe Dolphins. East Tigers thumped North Devils 40-16 and South Slogan Magpies beat Townsville Blackhawks. And Nunny, that's another loss for the Blackhawks. A little bit surprising to see them get a few.
Yeah, I mean it's a long year and it's hard to be up the whole time, and they've been up for a lot of weeks now, and they've lost 3 in a row now, so I don't know, it's a bit of a hole, but I don't think they'll be down for long. Like the bye this week, they'll freshen up and they'll come again. Like they'll be there when it matters.
Yep. I think their first lost game just before the Jets went up there as well, they would have been a little bit nervous knowing that you were facing the Blackhawks coming off a loss. They're always going to fire up at home, but the Jets just proved too strong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Blackhawks have only lost twice at home in their history, so you don't go up to Townsville and lose too. They don't lose too often at home, but yeah, they're a strong team, and I just minor blimp on the radar. They'll be right.
Yep. Well, the ladder sees the Burleigh Bears on top with 27 points, followed by the Redcliffe Dolphins and the PNG Hunters. Further down, we see the Ipswich Jets at 9th place on the ladder, but a good chance of making the top 8 with a win this weekend. Now, if we take a look back the weekend that was in the IRL, and Goodna Eagles had a 30-point victory over the Norse Tigers. Brothers Ipswich defeated the Bluebirds, and Fassifern Bombers had a great, convincing win over the West End Bulldogs, and that puts the 3 teams in the top of the IRL, doesn't it, Bomber?
Yeah, well, the 3 teams at the top there, as you can see from the results on the weekend, the top teams all had pretty good wins there. The Brothers Swiss game was obviously, that was a bit of a topsy-turvy game, which was out on Sunday, but the Fassifern Bombers and Goodna there, especially Goodna's second half, there was 18 all at half-time in that game and ended up 54-24, and Fassifern Bombers, well, they're probably the premiership favourites at the moment there with Ray Bearer out wide and Harold Mosby and Bernard.
Yep.
And Scotty Island chiming in from fullback there.
He's always getting at least one per game at the moment. It was good to see him get the double. That was fantastic. But I think the resurgence of Brothers in the last few weeks has been very impressive, from last place up into 3rd place in about a 4-week turnover. That's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Well, they started the season. They had a couple of new players at there, and they had a few injuries on earlier on in the season there, but they've gradually worked their way into the season. Now they've got another 4 home games in a row at home, so I can see them consolidating at least 3rd spot or maybe even 2nd spot, but I just can't see Fassifern or Goodna at the moment losing too many games, only when they play each other. So.
Yep. And Chris, you're a Brothers junior yourself. Is it good to see the old club making a resurgence back up the ladder?
Yeah, it's good to see Brothers going good. Anytime, we've got a few mates still playing there. Big Jake O'Doherty up front, getting some offloads, I'm sure. Killing it in the middle. We'd like that park footy, and it's good to see him going well. What
about the old hand, Jason Connors, still floating around?
The old pest, he just can't retire. Sounds like Scotty Island's the same as well. Just can't hang up the boots. They got a coach, and then they end up playing anyway.
Yeah. And they're still showing great speed as well for a couple of older heads.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Jason Connor's probably not so quick as Scotty Island. He's a bit slow, but he's very smart.
Yep. Well, I think he's been a good driving force behind the resurgence, especially having that experience in the side. That's very helpful for them, especially, as you said, Bomber, with a few new players coming in this year. That definitely does help them. Well, later in the show, we'll be previewing this weekend's QRL and IRL action, but up next, we take a look at the Cherbourg and Kingaroy match as part of the Indigenous Appreciation Round, plus another defeat for the Broncos, and the Origin teams announced for Game 3. Welcome back to After the 80, and it was electric crowd at the North Ipswich Reserve on Saturday as the Cherbourg Hornets and the Kingaroy Red Ants took the field as part of the Ipswich Jets Aboriginal Appreciation Round. While the Jets wore a new jersey designed by the students from the Bremer High students, the Cherbourg Hornets and the Kingaroy Red Ants provided a fantastic show of ability from both sides, with Cherbourg coming out winners in the end. And it was good to see two of the teams that the Jets have a bit of a connection with. Jets went over to Cherbourg to play their appreciation round last year, and good to see the two teams coming out to North Ipswich Reserve on the weekend. Yeah,
well, the Jets have always had an association up there, and even the IRL competition. We had Kingaroy, South Burnett in our competition down there, where it was a combination at there. And the way the Indigenous boys play their football, it's just awesome to watch. Dennis Sandow, he'd played in Trust before there, had a big future in the game. He was there, and a couple of the brothers and all that there, and there was some fantastic tries scored. Some length of the field stuff there. There's none of this barging home from dummy half.
A few players that the Jets might be keeping an eye on in future years.
Well, that's it. I think they do have a look up in that area there, and even the IRL competition, some of them have a look up there. If they can get a couple of them down to the city to play some footy.
And Chris, running out after that game as well, was it good to have that atmosphere already in place after a good game and have that crowd stick around and watch you guys as well?
Yeah, it was good. The crowd there for that game was almost bigger than some of the crowds we've had in previous years, and so it was good to go out and play. And they put on some good footy, and it was good to watch those boys play some proper footy, not just truck it up the middle.
And it was the Cherbourg Hornets getting the win there on the weekend over the Red Ants, and they did drop just before half-time, unfortunately, with Kingaroy coming back and posting some great tries against them, but they came out refreshed, and I think the Kingaroy reduced bench unfortunately hurt them, with only 2 on the bench for the whole game, while Cherbourg had about 6 players that they could cycle through, so it definitely did help them in the end with the fitness levels. We've actually got an interview with the Cherbourg fullback, Gav Jr., sorry. I've forgotten his first name, unfortunately. Keith Gadd Jr., that's it, who was playing alongside his dad as well, Keith Gadd Sr., who was in the front row, and Keith Gadd Jr. in the fullback role was darting around and played a lot of the Jet-style football with some great running, and channelled a bit of Michael Purcell and his 5-try 2-haul in the BRL. So we'll just have a look at that interview that I did on the weekend.
And we've got the fullback, Keith Gadd Jr. here, one of the try scorers for Cherbourg. And how was it to get out there today?
Yeah, no, it was actually good, playing in front of the crowd. Good to come down, actually, experience that for the boys, and come out to win, which was good, actually. So, yeah.
I understand that's the first time in the last couple of years that you guys have gotten the win over Kingaroy, so a great way to do it as well, with a 52-32 win.
Yeah, it's always a good rivalry. I think they're the only team that beat us this year, which is actually Downing, but it's good to come out today, with the win, and got back confident going into the final. Yeah, no, it was actually good, playing in front of the crowd. Good to come down, actually, experience that for the boys, and come out to win, which was good, actually. So, yeah.
I understand that's the first time in the last couple of years that you guys have gotten the win over Kingaroy, so a great way to do it as well, with a 52-32 win.
Yeah, it's always a good rivalry. I think they're the only team that beat us this year, which is actually Downing, but it's good to come out today, with the win, and got back confident going into the final.
Excellent, and there was another big match on the weekend with the Broncos taking on the Storm at Suncorp Stadium. We spoke last week about the Broncos' woes around the Origin period, and true to form, the Storm dominated in a 48-6 thrashing of the Broncos at their home ground. And Nunny, what do you got to say about the Broncos' drop during the Origin period? It's traditionally been a bad time for them, but this one's been particularly bad, as we see the Storm just slicing through with no effort.
Oh, to be honest, mate, I don't want to say a lot. It was a quiet drive home from Milton on Friday night. They just look lethargic. They just, I don't know where their energy's gone.
Yep.
But yeah, they just don't look like they're really enjoying their footy at the moment. Like, simple mistakes.
They really did miss Corey Oates, who we see just down in back play at the moment. As soon as he went off in the opening stages, had Nikorima here on the side, and he just didn't have the pace or the height to take on the Fijian wingers.
Yeah, I mean, that's a testament to how good Cooper Cronk is. As soon as Oates went off, Cronk just smelt blood in the water, and he went for it, and he absolutely nailed him with those kicks, and just kept going down that side. And I mean, it's hard for Nikorima's a midget, and he's up against a huge giant Fijian. That's pretty hardcore. But definitely. Cronk just kept putting it on the plate for him, and he was there.
And Bomber, good signs with McCulloch coming back, at least at hooker there. They've definitely been missing him there as one of the senior players who's not involved in Origin during that period. Yeah,
well, he was one that they have missed over the last few weeks there. He come back there, he offered a little bit there, but obviously his position just to get the ball out there. The Hunts and the Milfords, who were doing all the big work earlier in the year, and now just don't seem to be there at the moment. There, I don't know whether to lack confidence or what. There,
I think they've been missing that combination between McCulloch, Milf, and Hunt, and they'll start to string that together once the Origin's back over again.
As a half yourself, how hard is it when the team's missing quite a few players week in, week out? It's constantly kind of changing like that to get your combinations going with the players around you.
Oh, it's massive. I think especially your 9 and your 1 as a half, when they change, it's very hard to get used to a new player if they're coming in for a week or two, because they play so differently. And when you've got a good combination with your 9, you can just give them a look and they know you want the ball, whereas another one you might have to really yell at them or... so it's pretty hard to get used to.
Well, the other big news this week was State of Origin with the Game 3 dead rubber coming up next week. The teams for both the Maroons and the Blues were announced this week. And the big news for the Maroons is the return of Nate Miles from a knee injury, replacing Michael Morgan, who is out with a knee injury, and Gavin Cooper from the Cowboys making his Origin debut in for the injured Josh Papali. And one of the older debutants as well, at 31 years old as well, Bomber.
Yeah, well, it's unusual for Queensland. They normally would have blood someone now, but obviously Gavin Cooper deserves his spot. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve his spot, and being an Ipswich Jets player, what number is he again?
I didn't know. I don't know. 526, I think.
526, so... But Regan, the Queensland side, like I said, it's always self-explanatory most of the time. So.
Yep. And a little bit disappointing to see, as great as it is for Gavin Cooper to be making his debut, it did come at the expense of possibly a Barber debut, with Ben Barber possibly floating in the mix there as the utility role.
Yeah, I think the problem with Barber would have been that he would have had to defend in the ruck. He would have had to come on and play that utility role that Queensland have used with Hunt and Cronk before Cronk took over and things like that, and play that loose forward. And I don't know whether they had 100% confidence that Barber could play in the ruck and make 20 tackles and be all right with it. That's the only reason I can think of. If you could get him on, and then if you're going to get him on at fullback, then it becomes a bit like Matt Bowen used to be. How do you get him on? What are you going to do with him? You know, it's not worth taking someone off. For give him 3 minutes. And so I just don't think there's a defined role for Barber yet at Origin unless a fullback's out.
And we were talking about how those combinations at club level can help you at another level like you've experienced. I guess having that combination with JT and Justin O'Neill as well at club level, that's really going to help Cooper.
I was just about to say, like, he's used to playing with JT week in, week out, and Matty Scott up front there, so Coops will fit straight in, and he deserves it. He's been killing it for the last couple of years up there, so he'll rip in, I'm sure.
Excellent. Well, on the other side of the state border, we had Laurie Daly wielding the axe for Game 3, dropping Greg Bird, Matt Moylan and Dylan Walker. The new recruits for Game 3 include James Tedesco, Wade Graham and Josh Dugan returns from injury to slot in at centres. Bomber, how do you take that team that you're going to be supporting next week?
I think it's a pretty good side. Obviously, Wade Graham would have been in the Origin last one, so he probably deserves his spot in the side there. Whether Robbie Farah there, they probably could have gone for someone a bit different in the hooker position. Nathan Peets probably deserves a spot in there somewhere. They've gone with the big forwards again, so hopefully the big forwards can finally do something. They went a little bit missing in Origin too, I feel.
Well, I think supporters from both sides would be pretty excited to see James Tedesco in a Blues jersey, just to see what he brings to Origin level. And you think he'd handle the situation?
I think he's going to. His club form's been pretty good, but as long as Queensland win, I'll be happy. But Bon, what do you think about Michael Innes there? What do you think he'll get another crack at State of Origin? I feel like he's built to play State of Origin with the way he plays. He's tough, he's a pest, and he's been dead set killing it this year for Sharkies, and he still hasn't got a shot.
Well, if I was a selector, but obviously I'm not. Bob Fulton was, but he's not there anymore either. So maybe some of these ones who should be in the team will get there. Like, I would have picked Michael Innes for Game 1 ahead of Robbie Farah, but his forms, like I said, people call him a grub there. I don't know what the word grub means really there. Just because you're a pest and you get in there and you're competitive. So every team needs one or two of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, man, have you got a prediction for the result for Game 3? Dead rubber? You still think New South Wales are going to come out? There'll be plenty of pride on the line.
I'm not picking any score, but New South Wales will win.
What about you boys? So you got a prediction for where Queensland will end up? How far ahead they'll end up?
Oh, I think they'll be right. I think, they've only had, in this awesome run of the last 11 years, they've only had one clean sweep. So I think it's sort of they want another one. I think it's sort of, you've got to have a couple of clean sweeps in there to really, really dominate. And I think next year, 2 games at Lang Park, possibly Smith's last game, possibly Cronk's last game. You know, if you really put your foot on the throat in this third game, then it makes it harder for them again next year.
Yep.
You say you don't want to give them a bit of a win or anything where they can
build on it
next year.
And Chris, just quickly, your prediction for the outcome?
Oh, Queensland by 12 to 18, I think. I think we'll be too good again.
Excellent. Well, either way, it's going to be an entertaining game to wrap up. Welcome back to After the 80. Round 18 of the Intrust Super Cup kicks off on Saturday with the Sunshine Coast Falcons taking on the Redcliffe Dolphins. The Ipswich Jets take on the Northern Pride at Barlow Park. And Chris, the Jets will be looking for a 4th win on the trot.
Yeah, hopefully we can get it done. Nunn will let you know about the voodoo we've got going on up there with trips away to Cairns, but we're confident and hopefully we can go up there and get the job done.
Yep. Nunny, what's the record up there?
Jets haven't won there since 2008.
Okay.
August 2008 was the last time 30 to 20 we beat them.
Yep.
So Botch scored a try. Adam Botch scored a try actually in that game. There you go. Got us over the line.
Excellent. And what does this do for their chances of making the top 6 with a win here?
Yeah, I think because the Pride are even on points, so you can't afford to drop the games against the teams that are around you.
Yep.
So you got to keep moving and make sure you're taking points off teams that are around you or just above you, and then hopefully they build momentum 4 in a row and then keep going from there.
The Pride will be aware that this is a game that they can't drop either.
Yeah. Well, they're in pretty much the exact same situation, so they've got to keep winning too.
Yep.
So, but hopefully we can end it. They ended their hoodoo down here this year. And so hopefully we can do it up there.
Excellent. And any other teams that you're kind of keeping an eye on close to you in terms of points? You'd be looking to make that 5th, 6th kind of position there?
Yeah, we are. I think the one that has sort of been flying on the radar a little bit, which have been playing good footy all year, but they're very young, South Logan. South have been playing some good footy. They knocked off Townsville last weekend in a 30 to 12 is a good score. So I think they're the ones we've got to watch.
So with South taking on Wynnum this weekend, 7th plays 8th. Either way, one of the teams that you'll be matching up against will be getting a win. One will be getting a loss.
Yeah. Yep. Wynnum's just come off a good win against Redcliffe, and Redcliffe is sitting up towards the top. So the teams around us, and us included, we're all starting to play some decent footy. So heating up.
Bomber, how does this kind of compare to last year as well? This was a part where they started to get a bit of a roll on and made the final series.
Yeah, well, obviously they're a little bit different season this year. They were flying high for most of the season there with their attacking stuff, but obviously now they're a little bit behind. But like I said, they've won the last 3 games there, so there's no reason why they can't beat the Pride. And they've got a couple of tough games ahead. So, like Nunny said, these are the games that they must win. So.
Well, also this weekend we've got round 12 of the IRL. Sees the Swiss Bluebirds taking on the Goodna Eagles at Lewin Motors Field, and top of the table battle really with Fassifern and Brothers now looking for to secure 2nd and 3rd place. Do you think Brothers can continue that form against the fast finishing Fassifern Bombers?
Like, Brothers are in form, but Fassifern are in amazing form. I've watched their last 3 games, and they've got to try and get Ray and them out wide. If you can contain them, I think you can contain, but it's easier said than done there. It's easy to say, let's just attack him, let's just nullify him. Well, if he does that, I'm sure Scotty Island will go the other side and race down the other side. So,
knowing that they can kind of attack from anywhere on the field as well, how hard is it to shut down 2 players like that on the wing?
Yeah, I played in that D's game with and Harold Mosby and Sugar Ray. They played with me, and they'd fit in well to our team. Like, they just play that sort of footy. They can attack from anywhere, and as a defensive player, there's nothing worse than trying to defend a team out of their own 20, throwing the ball around. You just want them to come straight up, and Fassifern obviously aren't doing that, and they're having a lot of effect with that.
Especially they've got a lot of speed, but they're also pretty big men as well. pretty hard to shut down.
Big Mahi Pasaka in the middle there. I played fogs with him a couple of years ago, and he's a massive unit and likes to hurt people. So he'd be tough to handle as well.
Yep. Nunny, have you got a prediction on who's looking in form for the IRL for yourself?
Oh, I don't know, probably because I'm mates with Scotty Ireland, so I like Fassfern, and I'm mates with Nem, and I used to teach at Boona, so I'll stick with Fassfern. They keep going.
You think the run of home games for the brothers is really going to help them finish pretty strongly as well? They've come through the toughest period, having so many away games in the early stages.
Yeah, that's probably the opposite of the Jets that have had home games and now they've got to travel away. But yeah, home's just always easier, waking up and not having to drive, not having to go anywhere, keeping your routine, like all that helps, I think. And yeah, so I think that's obviously going to help brothers.
Yep. And Bomber, which game do you think you'll be getting down to this weekend?
I'll probably be heading to the brothers game.
Yep.
That's obviously the game of the round, so I'll probably be heading there. So
how do you think they're going to match up against each other?
Oh, I think it'll be a very, very tight game. Brothers last week there, they got off to a good start. They relaxed a bit, but you can't relax against Fassfern there. And Fassfern have got a pretty reasonable record at Brothers. So.
Excellent. Well, plenty of action this weekend with Origin not too far away as well, so plenty to get out there and watch in terms of rugby league this weekend. Thanks very much for coming on board this week, guys. It's been great to have you both on. Michael? Continue with your stats work. It's been fantastic.
I'll do my best.
Hopefully you can keep a close eye on Chris Ash's tackling count for the weekend.
Two missed tackles last weekend.
Fantastic.
No draws.
And Chris, good luck for the weekend.
Cheers, mate.
Excellent. Bomber, I'll see you around on the grounds this weekend. Looking forward to seeing some good matches.
You will do, my friend.
Excellent. Well, don't forget to stay up to date with the latest news on our Facebook page, After the 80 TV. I'm Ben Wilmott. See you next time on After the 80.